What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your daily news report and economic update for Monday, July 18th. So there's a bunch of stuff that we need to go over today. First, we're going to talk about the supply chain, where things are headed, why things got so bad, because in order to understand when we're going to get out of this mess, you need to really understand how we got into it and what happened. So I'm going to address that. We're also going to talk about why lawmakers are trying to push a specific bill for manufacturing. Okay, this is specifically for chips. Okay, need to address this because again, this kind of ties into our supply chain. We also are going to go over gas prices, why they're coming down, the good news there. Again, you need to stick around for that. And lastly, I want to talk about housing, about home builders, about people renting, because right now there's a major crisis regarding rents. Rents are increasing at an astronomical rate, but the good news is they will be coming down eventually, but it might not be for about another year. So make sure you stick around for that as well, because as rents increase, all costs are going to increase as well, and we will see inflation tick up. So make sure you don't miss that. So let's get right down to it. And again, as always, if you have any questions on any of this stuff, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. All I ask is you can spend just 2 seconds, go ahead and hit that like button, and also click that subscribe button so you never miss an update. But let's get right down to it. And let's talk about the supply chain. And when will things go back to normal? This is the question that I've been getting a lot lately. It hasn't been about gas prices, hasn't been about inflation. We know inflation's here, and according to multiple executives and CEOs, they're saying inflation is entrenched into our economy. So we know that. We also know there's a very high likelihood we are already in a recession. And again, we'll have an answer on that in less than 2 weeks. So, good news is answers are coming. Let's talk about the supply chain. First, you need to keep in mind that we still have many issues. I'm not talking about the supply chain as things are getting so much better. You know, is food hitting the shelves a little bit quicker? Yes. But we're also seeing a shipping problem. Now, there's still a worker shortage. That's a real problem. But the real issue right now is consumers overbought during the pandemic. We were used to buying more than we needed. We bought too much food. And I can attest to that. I did the same thing, right? We bought too much toilet paper and water, and we were preparing. Right? We were preparing in case things shut down. We also bought computers, cars, washers and dryers, televisions, right? Just about anything we could get our hands on while we're at home. And I can tell you right now, I bought computers for my business. During the pandemic, I bought two cars, okay? I bought a washer and dryer. They were used. I didn't buy new ones because you couldn't get your hands on them. And I bought a new television, a smaller one. It was like 32 inches, right? I bought all those things, so I can attest to that. And the desire to buy created this mess, okay? I want to explain why. It created this mess due to the fact that manufacturers were already slowing down. Right, we already saw them slowing down due to people not being able to work, right? COVID cases, right? They just couldn't stay open. Well, the pandemic really hurt us when it came to creating new products. Because on top of that, companies moved away from things like research and development. And you probably saw this. You may have seen on Bloomberg or CNBC or CNN or Fox News that all these companies were taking their R&D budget, their research and development budget, and moving it towards something else because they didn't want to go and manufacture new products and research and test and develop and do all these things. Makes sense. Which that would eventually push them back, push the future of their company back, at least for many months, if not years. That's exactly what happened. So now companies are starting to get back to normal. This is really good news. The only problem now is that we need things like chips in almost everything that we use. Anything electronic, we need a chip, right? Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's a TV, a phone, a car, manufacturing equipment. That's the big one. So until this chip shortage is resolved, it's likely to see that our supply chain issues are going to continue to persist. So this is one of the reasons why many lawmakers are actually pushing to see this so-called CHIPS bill passed by Congress as soon as possible. We do know Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says that he wants to have a vote on this bill as soon as this week, so that's good news there. However, there's still a problem. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, he doesn't agree on this. Now, here's the thing. Right now, Republicans and Democrats have agreed that they need to pass the CHIPS bill. They need to pass a bill to make the United States more competitive against countries like China. Okay. The problem is Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is using this bill as leverage because he says he will not vote on this. Republicans will not vote on this bill. And again, this is going to provide about $52 billion, okay, towards manufacturing and chips and all that. So again, it's a big bill. But Republicans are supportive of the bill. What they do not support is Democrats are wanting to pass this bill, then move right into the next bill, which is a piece of President Biden's Build Back Better Act. And they're going to pass that one through a budget reconciliation. So what Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is saying is, no, you are not going to get any Republican support on this CHIPS bill if your plan is to go and vote and pass the next bill through a reconciliation. So that is key to watch. And again, I promise I'll keep you updated on everything that's going on right there. We do have some good news though. Okay, I want to touch on this as well because that's kind of the bad news. Is there's potential delays there simply because of another bill. But here's the good news. Good news is gas prices are coming down. Gas prices in the United States as of this morning, $4.52 a gallon. That is a 49-cent per gallon decline since the highs back in May. The good news is that gas prices, according to multiple reports, are expected to drop even further. And many energy experts believe gas prices will drop under $4 per gallon by the beginning of October. Now, I really want to touch on that for a second because here's what others are speculating. That the Biden administration isn't trying to do much for gas prices until we get closer to the election. That's what they're saying. Is gas prices are going to stay somewhat higher, but now the talks. You listen to President Biden talk. He talks about gas prices are coming down. They were very high. They are now starting to come down. Is that good news? Because they're still higher than they were back 2 years ago. So that's the tough part. But right now, according to experts, summertime travel is causing gas prices to stay somewhat elevated, but it's also whatever the administration's doing. They're not doing enough to bring prices down a little bit quicker. The good news is prices will eventually drop, but it probably will not happen until sometime in October. So we'll see what happens there. I do want to talk about housing for a second because, again, this is a major issue. Most potential home buyers, they were excited about the potential downturn of the market, as this would actually make homes less expensive and be more affordable to them. That would be the great news. The only problem is now that home builders are stopping their projects prematurely, before they're even finished, as there's nobody to buy their homes. We're seeing home owners, they're pulling their properties off the market as realtors are not advertising them as much as they used to because people are not looking at them. Why would a realtor spend their advertising budget on a home that nobody wants to buy? And this is a big issue. And then we are seeing lenders, they're getting more strict as to who they're actually going to lend money to. It's a major problem as well. We're seeing contractors, they're not finishing projects as quickly as before because homeowners are not paying for them like they would. Now, I know this firsthand. I actually was talking to a friend of mine, and he was saying that he does tile for a living. And he was saying one of the issues that he had was he would do some work for somebody, right? They'd pay him, like normal. Problem was, when he got done or with a specific bathroom and he was going to the next one, right, or the kitchen or whatever, that the homeowner stopped him because they didn't know if they could continue to pay him for the next bathroom or the kitchen or whatever, because they had to look into their finances. They had to wait a little bit, right? Prices are still fairly high for products, right, for building material, and then obviously for the cost of labor. But at the same time, is it worth it to be putting more money into your house when home prices are falling? Well, don't know. Now, the reason this is a major problem is because, and is anybody looking for a home, is because you're most likely going to have to wait until the market comes down a little bit more, right? You need to wait for the top of the market to pretty much come crashing down. Some real estate experts anticipate the market's actually going to crash in most cities by the middle of 2023. We're already seeing in cities like Boise, Idaho, in Phoenix, Arizona. Prices are coming down fairly quickly. This is good, right? Because now it's coming to a more manageable level, right? It's coming back down to reality. But this also means for those looking for homes, right now you're probably going to have to rent. I'd recommend, if you can, don't lock yourself in to a year or 2 year long lease, okay? That's going to make things very difficult for you. But at the same time, just understand, if you are renting month to month, there's the possibility that a landlord can come back to you every month and say, okay, next month it's an additional $25. Next month it's an additional $50. And that would make it very difficult for most renters. So landlords are going to have the power for the time being, but just understand, the power will come back to you eventually, but it might not be for about a year. So that's what we know at this time. As always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share all the latest news and updates. Again, just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.